I'm Keely, Eure here with Eli Kleinmann, the voice of USC women's basketball. For Rapid Reaction, USC defeats Indiana in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. Eli, it was a close, tough game for USC, but ultimately it felt like the fourth quarter was where the difference was made.
Yeah, up 2 going into the fourth, USC was able to find a way to win down the stretch. They hit 2 threes in that first half. They hit 3 threes in that fourth quarter, and that was really the difference. Avery Howell hit a big one, Talia von Oelhoffen hit a big one, and then Juju Watkins hit a big one, and that really ended up being what USC needed in order to win.
Yeah, head coach Lindsey Gottlieb said that USC's depth was on display this afternoon, and that had to be the case with an unexpected illness. Rhea Marshall was out. What did you see from USC and how they adjusted with her absence?
I think there was some struggle to defend the interior. Indiana did have more paint points today than they did in that first meeting down in Bloomington. But I thought Avery Howell made her first career start in a postseason game, really rose to the occasion today when Coach B, Associate Head Coach Beth Burns, talks about Kennedy Smith, who we might get to in a minute. She calls her a dog. And today when I asked her about Avery Howell and the way she played down the stretch of that game and making her first start, Coach B said, if Kennedy is a dog, Avery is Dog Jr., and she played that way. Just tenacious, having to guard a player bigger than her in Sydney Parrish. And then also, once again, just like she did against both games against UCLA, she hit a big 3 down the stretch.
Well, as you just mentioned, this coaching staff has been so high on Kennedy Smith's defense, and that was on display today. It felt like the difference maker in the fourth quarter as well.
That's what Coach B said post-game, was that Kennedy Smith was the reason, and we saw it. There were a couple times where she would get a steal and really take momentum back for USC, but just the ability to put her on any defender or any offender in the conference and maybe arguably in the country. She can guard 1 through 4. I wouldn't bet against her trying to guard a center either, but you'll see her on a Yarden Gare zone, who is their best three-point shooter. You'll see her on their point guard, Chloe Moore-McNeil. It's impressive what she's been able to do. Didn't get all defensive honors in the conference awards, but certainly feels like she might be one of the 5 best defenders in the conference.
Now, I don't know how you felt during the game, Eli, but it kind of felt like all odds were against USC at a certain point. It was basically a home crowd, Indiana in Indiana, without Rhea Marshall, who they say is the heart and soul of this team, a veteran leader. It felt like in order for USC to actually come out and win this game, they needed it from everyone, and they had to be mentally tough to do so.
Yeah, I mean, Rhea Marshall is the leader of this team, but she's also the leader of this defense, the way Coach B has it set up. And so without her, everyone really had to play a role, and we saw that from just about everybody today. Malia Samuels, again, was really impactful, especially late in the game as a backup guard. And it's really, as they've said all season, when your number's called, you have to step up. And today, as cliche as that sounds, that is exactly what happened from USC's bench.
Juju Watkins and Kiki Iriffin, both with double-doubles. I believe this was Juju's 21st 30-point game. She moves into second all-time for USC. Those 2 stars just being stars today, it felt like.
I mean, I think it makes the difference. Someone said to me after the game that if Juju's going to score 30 and Kiki's going to score 20 and they're both going to have 10 rebounds, there are not many teams that are going to beat USC, and that's how it felt today. Juju Watkins just has the ability to take over games in ways few other stars do, and there were times when USC needed baskets, and she did that. And then the ability to have a player like Kiki Iriffin who can score in the post, but she can also step out and make deep mid-range 2s, and that is a huge asset for the Trojans because it spreads everyone out just a little bit more.
I feel like if you're a casual watcher of this team, you watch this team dominate UCLA at their own home, but then you turn on the TV for this game, and it's not quite the game you saw last Saturday, and they might be concerned. Do you feel concerned after seeing this game, or is this just getting the first game jitters out in the postseason?
I think a win in the postseason is a win, and you're playing in your first game. Indiana had already played yesterday, but I also think that it's more of a testament to how good the Big Ten is. We entered this Friday, which is the quarterfinal day here at the Big Ten tournament, and all 8 teams are pretty much locks to make the NCAA tournament. If you look at the bracketology, that doesn't happen very much, and it goes to a testament to how deep this league is. There were teams that lost yesterday in the second round of the Big Ten tournament who might or will likely sneak in to the NCAA tournament. That's how deep this team is. 12, 13, the 14 seed are all good enough to play tournament basketball. So I'm not exactly concerned because I just think think it shows how good and deep this conference is.
Now tomorrow in the semifinals, USC will take on the winner of Maryland versus Michigan. Right now, as of recording this, Michigan is dominating Maryland, so we'll see. But in your perspective, Eli, what's the better matchup for USC?
It's hard to say because we've seen these teams change since USC played them for Michigan late December, Maryland early January. They played those two teams within about a week and a half of each other. Michigan didn't have their star freshman Silas Swords in that game. Maryland has since lost one of their best scoring guards in Bree McDaniels, but they present different challenges. Michigan relies a lot more on their freshmen, and they go with a smaller lineup. They don't really have a true center that starts for them. Maryland does have more of a center, and they have Cheyenne Sailors, who is one of the best players in the conference, as their point guard. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think there are unique challenges and maybe unique benefits that USC can have regardless of who they face tomorrow.
Alrighty, well, in a tournament setting, it's obviously a quick turnaround. What are you looking for from USC within 24 hours?
I think you just have to get ready to go. You get rest today, you come back tomorrow. You had the early game, so you get a little bit more time off before you play tomorrow compared to every other team in this tournament, but it's really just about rest, recovery, and then locking in on the scout plan as you get ready to face whoever you're going to see the next day.
Alrighty, Eli, any final thoughts before we wrap it up here in Indiana?
A really big win for USC. It certainly puts them in a really good spot to try and claim a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Nothing is a guarantee, despite USC winning 2 games over UCLA, but it puts USC in a much better spot with a win like this today. So I think it sets them up well for tomorrow and going the rest of the way.
Alrighty, that's going to wrap it up here in Indiana. We'll catch you after the semifinal game tomorrow.